Hey, how's everybody doing? Just here at home, ready to do a meditation session. Just gonna sit down in a quiet room. I actually like to have a ambient noise in the background, like a fan. A fan is not the thing that I choose, but you can pick anything, any kind of sound you like. If you like the sound of rain or nature, you can download stuff on apps on your phone that are awesome for that. You find that helps you. But usually I just sit in a quiet room like this with the fan in the background. And I just relax in my comfortable round chair that I have. You can see it here. One of those big round wicker chairs. Really comfortable. So I just sit back and focus on my breathing. Try and quiet the voice in my head. And when thoughts do arise, I become aware of that and go back to focusing on the sound of the fan or focus on my breathing or both. You can do it like I do. I try to. It actually helps to have multiple ambient noise going on in the background. Sometimes I'll listen to the birds chirping outside. Just little subtle things like that you'll find are helpful, or at least I find them to be helpful. Okay, so here we go. I just sit back, take a deep breath, clear my mind, find my center, learn how to control the thought process in my head, how to stop it from constantly verbalizing everything. Just try and find that peaceful silence that resides in between the words, in between the things you say and do, the emptiness. And you'll come to find that that emptiness is not empty, but what it's full of, I can't explain it. You have to find it for yourself. So let's try. Take a deep breath and clear my mind. And as you get to the point where you can do this and quiet the voice in your head, as you listen to the ambient noise in the background, the more you focus on that ambient noise, be it the birds outside, the crickets, all of a sudden you realize that you were never really aware of things like that. You start to become aware of things that you never noticed, that you just overlooked. I think that's just a human condition that we tend to look at the big picture of things, the foreground. But yeah, I find that it helps to recognize how much we don't acknowledge consciously during our day. And I think the more that you ask yourself that question, gee, how much do I actually just automatically do without consciously thinking? I think you'll come to find you do it more often than you think, and it's not helpful. I think it's one of the main causes of why today there's so many problems with PTSD and mental health issues. I think a lot of it is science tries to come at it from a scientific approach, but they're coming at it the wrong way because science doesn't understand consciousness and how your emotions and all of that is tied into everything. They just think everything is, like Freud, everything is because you want to have sex with your mom, It's not like that. And I think that that's the biggest problem with science today is that they're not equipped to answer the question, what is consciousness? Because science operates on the premise of being able to take something and put it in a box and label it. This is a cell phone. And with consciousness, first problem they had was they believed that, and they taught us all to believe, that consciousness was in you. It was in your head separately. And because you were a separate biological entity, obviously, it follows that consciousness must be inside you. Well, that's where they went wrong, right there. They looked at it the wrong way. That's not the way things are. Consciousness is not inside you. Consciousness is out there. It's everywhere. You just have the five senses that equipped you to receive it and perceive it, perceive all the spectrums of light, spectrums of sound, and all different feelings and emotions that come along with being a biological creature. And basically, your consciousness is out there and you receive it. And there's only one consciousness, but it's everywhere. It's anywhere, and it's nowhere. It's in a strange way. I know that sounds crazy and paradoxical, but it's kind of like the way quantum physics works. The weird ways of that tie into this idea of consciousness being everywhere. There's just one conscious, and we all are that consciousness, but we don't realize that we are one at the end of the day, because we think we're separate, because we think consciousness is something that we obtained and is in us. And it's not. It's out there. And what you are at the end of the day, when you study your true nature, you are not this. You are that. Everything else, everything that extends out in every direction forever is you. And you're doing that. Your consciousness, well, I say yours, but it's really not yours. At the end of the day, we share it. It's the Atman, the one. Your consciousness creates the reality that we experience, like frames in a movie. It's second by second, it goes by. And the way it works is that you perceive that it's something that's inside of you when it's not. It's outside of you. And when you're taught your whole life that it's inside of you, and it seems to make sense, you end up having that perspective. But by having that perspective, it seems like you're just a mistake in the universe, like a little insignificant speck. You're a fluke, and the universe doesn't care about you. But when you look at it the other way around, that consciousness is out there, and you're a part of that bigger consciousness, and it makes you feel better about yourself, because you're not just an insignificant nothing. You're the everything. You're the shit. You're the all, the universe. And when you die, you don't go anywhere, because you didn't come from anywhere. You were everywhere and anywhere and nowhere at the same time. And I know that sounds paradoxical again, but it ties into quantum physics. And the fact that things can be in two places at once, the fact that two things that are separate can somehow communicate instantaneously across the vast universe. It's crazy, and it's paradoxical. It's weird, but when you sit down and think about it and look at it from the perspective of consciousness being out there, basically panpsychism, that everything is a little bit conscious, and that in humans, because we're biological creatures, we started with a one-celled amoeba, and then it grew and produced more, and as we got thicker and richer systems, as we developed through evolution, we were able to have a thick and rich enough, robust enough system, biological system, that allowed us to perceive consciousness. And that's all I got to say about that. See you next time.